Hello, dear Mala. I'm just sending out word. I'll be with you shortly. Please talk amongst yourselves. Is that it? That was the music? That's all the music I've got? Come on, there must be more than that. Ooh, what's that? What about this one? Ooh, that sounds funky. It's a catchy little number. How are we all? Randy the Magic Man, how are you, DJ? I'm the DJ, right, yes. Still with the helium voice. What does that mean? What do you mean, helium voice? Oh, wow, just started an environmental science course online. Pretty excited. It's going to be a decent 12 months. It's great. Sending out my tweets. What else would I like to put out? Instagram, I guess the Facey books. I should put it out on the Facey books as well. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not very organized today. Well, what am I, to be honest? But, all right, there we go. That's all we need there. All right. Put that out. All right. Is that it? I think that's about it, isn't it? That's about all I wanted to do. Just like to let people know. So there's a, I'm not talking to myself, only myself. All right. How are we doing for sound? A little too loud, probably. Let's wind this down, shall we? All right. Okay, that is done. Done. Who is here? Who we got? Jack Jasra. Hello, Jack Jasra. Wonderful Jack Jasra. Go check him out. Go check out his channel. He's doing all sorts of art stuff. David's still with a helium voice. I'm curious about that. Is my voice still high? Do I still talk really high with my voice? What I want to be doing is working on my low. I want to be like what was that guy? I want to be like God, was that fantastic older British? Is he British or Irish or this just like, no, it's Ray Winston, isn't it? Ray Winston. You want that Ray Winston voice? That's what I'd like. Really low Ray Winston voice. Just talk like, if I should just like stop doing it now all the time. Maybe not the accent. Although it's hard not to do this voice without an. Oh my God, am I doing voices? Oh my God, I've become that actor who does freaking live streams and voices. Oh God, I hate myself already. Good music, thank you, Jack. LordChunky Dev. What are unexploded bees? Aha! Do I know how to write the headlines or what? Got a whole bunch of stuff for you. Oh, wait, that's a mistake on my side. No, there we go. Instead of boom, they get moob. Not sure what that means. Jason Statham. It is very Jason Statham. It's true. Something causing my VLC stream to be higher pitched. Oh, that's interesting. Is everyone, yeah, it does feel a bit like Snatch, doesn't it? No, Snatch, like, he's talking like this, and he's always doing it, he's doing it, sort of like, you couldn't understand what he has done. And you could understand what he was saying most of the time. I suit a British voice. I know Baba Yaga. I should have a British accent. Well, we're moving back there at some point, and I'll get a pig, a tractor, and a British accent. I'll work on that. Lazy bees, they should all explode. Exactly, Mark Lapointe. Let's explode some bees. All right, who we got here? Trevorrow. Randy the Magic Man, of course. Welcome back, Randy. Hope things are going well. How's the escape room treating you, Randy the Magic Man? Miss Hojat. Sergeant, what do we got? Sergeant Mal Reynolds, I guess. I also got Eva Fairy. How are you? Who's doing some C++? Is that what you're doing? C sharp. Is there C sharp? I thought it was C++. Anyways, so doing some programming. Good for you. Guten Tag, says everyone. It's Jack Jasper to everyone. Why am I seeing the subscriptions down the bottom? The alert boxes should be on top, really, shouldn't they? There we go. So who just subscribed that I missed? Captain Catherine, thank you. Skylar, thank you very much. Okay, this is gonna be the worst stream ever if all I do is just shout out who's subscribing. Although I kind of like that as an option. Now I put the camera in a different spot. I feel like I should move my stuff so that it's more. There you go. So you get more of a sort of looking close to the camera. I've done a little reconfigure in here. And by reconfigure, I mean like tidying up the mess, digging out the mess that I've got going here. I spent way too long trying to figure out if I could get that laptop to work again. The one that I allegedly spilled things on. I totally spilled stuff on. And I've tried everything. I tried cleaning it off. I've taken it all apart, cleaned it all off, scrubbed it even with a nice little, not a wire brush, but a very harsh brush without destroying any of the connections. And yeah, I've tried. At this point, I think even if I did get it working again, I probably would just fail to get it back together because there's just too many little pieces at this point. But very frustrating. I feel like laptops should be made a little bit like this Mac, this little Mac that I've got here, this little baby right here. This is one of these little M1 or is it M1 or M2? I think it's the M1. It's a little M1 laptop that I've got. These things are freaking bulletproof. I mean, when something goes wrong, it's catastrophic. That's the thing about Macs. But when they're working, they're just the best freaking laptops. I know that James Gurney loves his. I do now, however, I am the proud owner of a cheap laptop, a cheap Windows laptop. It's not cheap really, but I mean none of them are cheap anymore. But I've got this Victus. It's a Victus HP laptop, and the reason for it, and I'm so glad that I did this because the big debate was whether I should upgrade the system I've got, and I have done that to some extent because I did put a new USB card in here, so I've got four new, not just four new ports, four new channels of USB. If that I think is the right term for it. So each one of those has could be its own string of USB 3 now. So it was not a cheap card. But it was because there were cheap cards out there, but the sense I got from them was that they were just adding, 4 ports and 1 channel. This is 4 separate channels. So that the hope is that I can have multiple cameras and things like the Stargate cam or rat cam, as we call it, because that's what the only thing that walks by here, either the dog or rats. And although less rats now that I stopped feeding the birds, stupid rats. I enjoyed feeding the birds. So I thought it's been. Normally I would do this on Thursday, and the plan in my little tiny mind was to do it on Thursday. But then I noticed that I'd sent my newsletter out, and I'd forgotten to change the bottom, so it said Tuesday. I didn't want to leave people in the lurch, so I thought, you know what, I'll just go live anyways. Even though I'm completely unprepared, and I'm. Oh, that mouse is the wrong mouse. God, I've got too many mice going here because I've got another keyboard going, right? So I keep grabbing the wrong one. Okay, what? Somebody followed. I can't see. It's too small. My little eyes. My eyes. My little eyes cannot keep up with everything. Has anyone seen Cal? Did we wake up Cal for this, by the way? Do Thursday too. Well, that's sort of what I was thinking, maybe, Tinder lost Jay. Tinder lost? Is that kind of a comment on dating or something, Jay? Do Thursdays too. I blame it on the May 2-4 weekend. Yes, exactly. Although, you know what? Oh yeah, the framework laptop I thought looked beautiful. My concern was just cost. I gotta, I didn't want to spend a ton of money on it because frankly I don't have a ton of money. There's a strike going on now. I'm old, white and inappropriate, and so there's not there's very specific roles for me now. And also the weird thing is I've got very picky in my old age about the acting stuff. A thing came up the other day, which actually was an offer for a film. I'm not sure if it was actually an offer, but it was going to be an offer, if that makes sense. And I said, "Oh, fantastic! Let me see the script. Detective. That'd be fun. That'd be fun to do." And I read the first 2 pages, and I was like, "This is horrible." And I don't mean badly written. It was very nicely written, but it was like this guy murdering all these women and pouring bleach in their faces and stuff. And I was just like, oh God, I wasn't doing that, but I just thought if that's the first 2 minutes of the movie, I got this thing. I love horror movies. Absolutely love horror movies. That is all I do instead of sleeping. That's why I don't make sense anymore because I just don't sleep. But instead of sleeping, what I do now is I watch horror movies from about 11 in the evening till about 1 or 2 in the morning, depending on how long the movie is. And or if sometimes I'll watch 2 movies. Sometimes I'll watch half of one and hate it and go to something else. But I subscribe to Shudder because they have a whole bunch of horror stuff that I hadn't seen. So I watch these horror movies, but I always avoid what I call torture porn, which is just these films where just people are just getting butchered and there's no story and there's no mystery and there's no, it's purely about the joy of watching people miserable. And I'm afraid maybe I'm just old, but I don't remember ever liking that particularly. To me, horror is one of those genres where you can find these amazing, it's a bit like sci-fi, where there's a lot of bad stuff out there, like a lot of bad movies, badly thought out movies. Hell, I've made many of them. But the idea that you can find these little diamonds amongst all the coal in horror, I find. Or you can find some really interesting psychological or some interesting filmmaking and stuff. I watched one last night which was gratuitous, hugely gratuitous. Yes, absolutely. But there was a certain sense of silly fun to it. I feel like I'm threading. I'm walking the line here because I just don't know. This sounds like torture porn now, but it's basically the idea is these kids are driving across the country. They're in a shared ride type thing. They have a blowout. They get stranded, and then they discover it wasn't a blowout. They're actually being shot at. There's a shooter. But just the way, for me, as a filmmaker, not that I'm a filmmaker, but as someone who enjoys the process of filmmaking, it was fun to see how they tried to sustain this story, this very contained story with basically like a bunch of kids trapped behind a van, basically. How they sustained it. So I won't give any spoilers or anything like that. But there's some horrifically grotesque shootings, which in a way were just so over the top that you can't help sort of laughing at how ridiculously gruesome they were. There's a certain childish play to it sometimes, but I found it was an interesting film. I've seen all sorts of stuff. I saw a Jewish exorcist movie. I can't remember the name of it, which was pretty awful, but had some amazing stuff. Like I don't know how legit it was on the sort of the Jewish cultural stuff, but it seemed like it was going pretty deep into all these demons and stuff in the various Old Testament stuff and all that jazz. And it was because we call the Christian folks. I'm not a Christian, but I was raised Christian, so so I guess we would call it Old Testament. I'm not sure what you'd call the is it? I don't know. It's the Torah. There's a Torah. There's an Old Testament. Who knows? Anyways, so there was a whole bunch of demon stuff in there, which was kind of fun. Reminded me of my old days when I used to read things like who is that one? Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. There was a guy, this crazy Aleister Crowley. That was it. I used to read all these Aleister Crowley stuff. I think it was just to look like I was dark and brooding. David, like the bee outfit. It is a good bee outfit, isn't it? I'm really enjoying the process of taking AI art and then transforming it just a little bit or personalizing it a little bit in Photoshop. And what I'd like to do, I've been trying to track down a way of, I want to create little video game sprites, because long-winded story getting around to what I was saying originally, laptops. Hello, laptops. The whole point of the laptop was so that I had a portable system, a portable Windows system that I could bring upstairs, and my son and I could play with Unreal Engine together. So we did that this weekend, and, you know, bless the kid, he was great. We did like almost 2 hours of just solid, like looking at this tutorial, and he was setting stuff up and opening different existing things and making little customization. I went down the rabbit hole on sprites. I'm trying to figure out how to do. I thought it'd be kind of fun to have 2.5 dimension sprites. But sprites, I don't know if that's the right term, but characters where you animate them with just a series of little images. I thought it'd be really cool if I could get AI to spit out a series of images that I could then use as a character in just to sort of run around my this sort of 2D world that I know that Sebastian is hoping to play with. Baz really wants to do a side-scrolling shooter. I don't know if he calls it a shooter. A side-scrolling adventure game, I guess is the term. So it's weird to me, like, how advanced the video creation or the creation of these sort of real, almost lifelike, well, basically lifelike worlds that can be created in video games, and yet the kids, they still go back to these old school sort of 16-bit looking games, and they still seem to enjoy it. So, David and Chad, what do we got? What are you saying? Will you be at the FedCon in Bonn with all your mates? I will not. I was supposed to do FedCon before the pandemic, and then during the pandemic, it would come up again and again as a potential, and then it would either get canceled or I would say, look, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. I haven't really done a real convention. I shouldn't say not a real convention, but the only convention I've done is a science and sci-fi one that was in Kitchener-Waterloo a little recently. And that was sort of because I wanted to do the science part of it. I mean, I'm not turning my back on the Stargate folks. I just feel like, there's I don't know. To me, my interest lies in the real science now more than the science fiction of 15, 20 years ago. So while I'm absolutely always thrilled to talk to Stargate fans, and it's amazing the connections and that I can make here and stuff, I have not been in a rush to go back to the convention circuit, just because I feel like I don't really have the only new stuff I have for people. Well, it's not Stargate related, right? I mean, I know people want me to talk about Stargate, and I have no new stories about Stargate for you. I mean, I can talk about working with Guillermo or Vincenzo or any of the other stuff I've done. I know that that's not what people want to talk about Stargate. I get that. I totally get that. So to me, the best way to talk about Stargate now is to talk about it in the realm of science. So we can actually talk about some of the fun stuff that sort of I'm inspired by online and stuff, and this education side of stuff. One of the things I love about Stargate is that one of my favorite things that people come up to me and say is like, oh my God, we used to watch your show and now I'm a physicist, or now I'm a computer scientist, or now I'm just a jerk. Just the idea that a television show had inspired people into actually making a difference in the world is just amazing to me. Like, is incredibly satisfying. I thought, well, how do I sustain that? I'm like a junkie for this now. How do I keep that coming? And I thought, well, the best way to do that is probably just to actually talk to people about the science stuff and see what's available, and that's led to many amazing friendships. With Q, who's doing molecular biology, molecular gastronomy, and is now working for a podcast in New York, and Lance, and God, so many. Jesus, like so many people. Even my son's best friend, his parents used to watch Stargate. I mean, I think I can't remember if we ran into them because of that or because of the friendship, but like some of our best friends now are like, we're originally people who watched Stargate. Like, it's just crazy cool to me. And what I love about it is they're all scientists. They're all science folks. So, that's the key for me these days is to, having played a genius on television, I now want to surround myself with real genius so I can learn a thing or two as I go along. So I've just met, incredible number of people who I'm very, very fortunate to because of Stargate. So my hope is in the future, I'm not saying I will never do a Stargate convention again, but I would love there to be, and maybe this is something I could work into a convention appearance even, is I'd love to have I'd love to do some Tech Bandits, frankly. I'd love to have like a Tech Bandit session where we can talk about technology and science and the future, and maybe even get some of my friends like James Gurney and God, there's just so many people, man. It's like I've met so many people because of Stargate, either through Twitter or through this or YouTube or whatever. It's amazing, I just think it'd be really fun to sort of tie those two together. Anyways, Jonathan MLH, building ZPMs with 3D printers that light up. There you go. Is that what you're doing right now, Jonathan? I hope so. That's very cool. Sat through a panel at FedCon given by an ESA guy who just sent commands to a Mars orbiter the day before. Yeah, see, Anchoritis, that's the kind of stuff I just think. Those are the people I want to meet. You know what I mean? Freaking actors. I know actors. I love actors. They're wonderful people at parties. But I, when you want to learn something, it's I want to talk to the science folks. You know what I mean? Have a Tech Bandits panel. Yeah, that would be smart. Actually, I should do that. I should totally do that. Like, in fact, maybe that's something I could reach out to some of the conferences about and say, like, look, I'd love to come and maybe, I don't know how that would be. I don't know how they monetize that, but because I wouldn't want it to be something that people have to. Oh God, the money stuff really bothers me. I mean, bothers me more when I don't have any. But at the same time, there's this thing about, like, I don't want education to be expensive. At the same time, what's interesting about some of these conventions is you meet people who are quite high up in various different industries and business and stuff. So I guess there's a benefit. I don't know. I'm talking myself in circles on this stuff. I have not agreed to do a convention in a long time, and and I'm not rushing to go back to it, I've got to say. But as I say, I'd love to figure out a way of somehow tying this stuff that I love doing with the show that I loved doing somehow. So that's the evil plan. So no, that's the longest possible answer for no. I'm not going to FedCon right now. So yeah, that was definitely the longest answer I could possibly give to that. There's a few things I want to go through this email of awesomeness at some point. If I can, let me pop on here and see what's going on. See who's hanging out. Is anybody hanging out? Have I got the right channel? Oh, I forgot to tweet on tweet. I forgot to say I'm going live. I forgot to say I'm going live on the Discord. Oh my God, the one group that would actually care is I've always failed to let know. Okay, let's look up what I'm doing here. All right, so I'm gonna just go to here, let the old Discord folks know. Hello, Discord. It's my own Discord. You think I would be better at, like, actually keeping it up to date, but yeah, apparently not. Okay. Self-promotion is something I've really got to get better at. Got to get better at this whole self-promotion thing. All right. Hey, everyone. Forgot to mention, I'm geeking out live right now. There you go. Live now, nerds. Live here. Do I need to put... I don't think I need to do that. I just do that. And then, yes, I'm going to send that to all the people. And then, weirdly, I've got 2 Discord servers, so I better do it on the other Discord server as well. And that will be in the general, I guess. Welcome? General. Where do I normally do it? I guess I normally do it here. The Vibe put up the most hideous picture of me. Okay, not that it's hard to find them. Yeah, I always grab like a still screen grab for my, whatever they call the thumbnails that I put up when I archive this stuff on YouTube. Which is, by the way, it is archived on YouTube. If anyone wants to go back and listen to me droning on about probably the same thing over and over again, then they are more than welcome to. Discord has a bot that announced it. Oh, good, Layer Cake. That's amazing. So the bots have beat me to it. See, look at that. The AI is already running everything, and I welcome our AI overlords. I saw the Bumblebee picture on the Facebook that alerted me. Oh, good. But I saw it on Discord. Oh, you all saw it on Discord. Everyone saw it on Discord. I hosted a party and set up a LAN game for DEF CON in the background. Oh, so many arguments spawned that evening. Really? So many arguments about DEF CON. We've been looking into DEF CON. That was one of our wonderful chatters was looking into that for me. It's amazing. I'm scared of AI. I'm not sure though. I'm scared of people. I'm not scared of AI. I'm scared of people. Like, what are we going to do with this stuff? I think there is definitely room for it to be misused, but I would argue that the first great AI human conflict has already begun in the form of social media algorithms. Like, I think the fact that social media algorithms have not changed the content to suit us, but have instead hacked the system and hacked us so that the content is better for us. Like, I feel like there is this, by sort of manufacturing and profiting off of the outrage that you see on all of these social media platforms. I feel like it's changing us. It's not like, we set out these algorithms in the hope that the algorithm was going to provide us with everything we wanted, and instead the algorithm has provided itself with the people that it wants, by splitting us into groups and knowing that if the far right loves this, the far left loves this, the makers love this, but you can figure out who people are and where they stand very quickly by outraging people. I mean, I don't know if people have noticed this or not, probably not. But I have been very, very sort of absent from social media of late. I'm using it to post that we're having these chats and stuff, but I'm also I'm kind of trying to stay off it, because whenever I get on there, I go like, what? Are you freaking kidding me? And I'll get all mad about something that I didn't know about 2 seconds ago. And when I sit back, in most cases, doesn't matter at all. Who cares if there was a freaking police chase in New York with a bunch of freaking monarchy idiots? I mean, but I'm like, well, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm like, it turns everybody into, like, I don't know, into these, like, sort of like outraged and angry. It just makes me angry that I don't need to be angry. I'm already a grumpy geek. I don't need to be angrier than I am already. So anyways, the main risk is feeding it company secrets. Yeah, Movie Lad, that is actually fascinating, because if you think about it, if you've got access to all of the data that people are putting into like ChatGPT, and obviously there are companies that have all of that data, you are, as you say, you are feeding them your secrets. I mean, the Google has become the Oracle, because we ask it things that we wouldn't ask, our significant others. I mean, you know what I mean? What's this rash? There's a lot of stuff that I think we consult Google about, which is incredibly personal stuff. And if you put together a list of our searches, if we are not, protecting ourselves in any way, then you're going to have a very, very clear idea of health and mental state and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's funny. I think writers, whenever I'm writing anything, I feel like I throw off all the algorithms, because you look up stuff where you're like, what the hell? This guy's obviously got cancer. He's always looking up cancer cures. But I'm like, the technology, the biology that's out there around this stuff is fascinating to me. The molecular biology stuff as well, cell biology. And a lot of that has a lot of these, obviously a lot of cancer and cancer treatments are pushing the bounds of this stuff. So I definitely feel like I fuzz the Google because I look up weird things all the time. Speaking of weird things, we should talk about some of the weird stuff that I have in my email of awesomeness. Has anyone woken up Cal yet? Anyone seen Cal? Camera is nervous. The camera is shaking. Oh yeah, sorry. You know what it is? It's because it's attached to my desk and extended a little further out. So is it driving everyone crazy? Because I'll move it. I can't do it now, but I can attach it to something that's not attached to the desk and make it less nervous, as you put it. Cal. See? My name is Cal, bright and cheerful. I'm all rainbows and unicorns. What would anyone do without me? I am the hammer of justice, the Hewlett Conscience. Conscience? The Hewlett Conscience. I wrote this. I should know this. Hewlett Conscience, our truth speaker, and our little stormy cloud in the chat. Hugs. That's Cal. We all miss her, even when she's probably still here. It's activating your Parkinson's. Oh my God, Stedman, I hope not. I hope you're joking. Speaking of Cal, chat was prompting me to time her out when I came in. Really? You've talked about it on stream before, but have to ask if brain transplants become possible, would it still be you? I mean, I don't know really how to say. I guess consciousness and how you look through your eyes, control your body, etc. Would that carry over, do you think? Well, here's an interesting thing about that, Horrid 7. And this is something that I obsess about, is that, we are not the same people that we were when we were kids. I mean, there are certain cells, I guess, that last throughout, but we're constantly regenerating and changing the cells in our bodies. Also, there was a study, one of these, like, some of these science punks did some research about how we wouldn't even recognize ourselves if we look back, because we're a product. Our memories are all they're not stored; they're sort of reenactments in our head. So we rewrite our memories all the time. I notice it more and more as I get older, how inaccurate my memory of stuff is. Like, I'm convinced this is the way it was, and then when I actually discuss it with a few other people, or even look at old notes or whatever, I go, oh my God, like, I'm completely wrong about that. Like, that's kind of shocking to me. Kick Story, thank you for following. Yes, you're kidding. Good, thank you, Stephen. So the idea that if you were to, like, let's say you had bionic fingers to start, then you had bionic hands, then you had a bionic arm, and you slowly removed your organic body for an electronic one, at some point you would be more machine than human. But would you notice the change? I don't know that you would. And I mean, we're seeing this more and more now, I think, also just with the sheer, like, waves of information that are coming out, crashing tidal waves of information on a second by second basis. The amount of stuff that is just flashing in front of our eyeballs. It is impossible to read everything on a subject anymore. It's impossible to truly know what's happening all over the world because there's so much information about all of it. We rely on aggregators who could, but they're not just aggregators. They're selecting what we want to hear about, right? I mean, every podcast I listen to has a certain, obviously, probably left leaning, whatever they call it, snowflakey, woke, whatever my designation is in the great social media algorithm. I think we're tailoring what we want to know to what we already know. There was a really scary stat in Let's Talk Science's data. Let's Talk Science is a charity here that is what's basically, it's a real Tech Bandits. It's science inspirations for schools. It's all tied into curriculum. It's all what is it called? Experience based or information based. I can't remember what the term is called, but it's an educational term. But it's all being researched, and so they've come up with these programs that are based on research and educational theory and all this kind of stuff. Anyways, point being is, one of the stats they came up with was that, and I'll get the numbers wrong, but it's somewhere I'm averaging sort of thing. It was like 30% of the population believed in science that confirmed their bias. So basically, if they believed in science when it agreed with their own underlying principles, which is just a really kind of scary thought that almost a third, not a third, would it be a third? Yeah, it's close to a third, I guess. I think it was probably under that. I'm like rounding it up, and the number's getting bigger and bigger. 100% of people. But anyways, a fairly large percentage of the population is only believing the science that already confirms their own bias on stuff, which is just extraordinary to me. And to me, it's one of the big reasons for Tech Bandits, which has morphed in a way from a kids thing into more like a parent educator, lifelong learner thing now, because I think it's more about the kids of old age, as it is the kids themselves, because the kids age out of this stuff. I mean, when I started this, there was, bunch of eager 10-year-olds, and now they're all teenagers, and they don't want to. I mean, obviously, don't want to be online talking to some old guy about stuff. So, I think. Anyway, so I just thought that was an interesting stat, and you should look up letstalkscience.ca if you can, if you have an interest in that stuff. They've got tons and tons of stuff on education and how to teach things, and I should start working through some of this stuff myself. Actually, people don't want the facts, truth; they want to be right. Yeah, that's it. Closed-minded to believe in science like that. Keep an open mind, be inquisitive, and examine to learn science. I mean, this is one of the things that I find fascinating about it. When you talk to someone like James Gurney, who's like a professor and a doctor. Or when you talk to a medical practitioner, when you talk to, a real scientist, not like a little citizen scientist like me, they don't confirm or deny things. Unless there is complete proof on things, and even then, there always seems to be a room for the possibility that there's an error in there. Like, they're very, very good at not saying the stuff that us amateur scientists do. Like just making these sort of statements and going like, well, this is all jellyfish are like this. And it's like, well, sort of, but not, when you get into if you get into true sea jelly scientists, they will have, they will be much, much less likely to truly confirm something, to say something is or isn't, unless there is a ton of data behind it. And I think part of the problem is by giving everyone a voice, like myself having a voice, you end up speaking to the science with your own limited knowledge of these things. So it's one of the things I should remind people all the time, which is that, please question the stuff I say, because I do, and if I get stuff wrong, I want to know it, because if I'm not wrong, I haven't learned anything. So, I think that's a very important approach to this stuff. I will definitely, it's a weird world for fact checking these days, for sure. It's quoting the X-Files. Is that what it is? Is that what it was? The truth's out. Oh, the truth's out. The stuff. Yeah. Science is what we know to be the truth until it is proven wrong. What do they say? There's a couple of great quotes. I should get a bunch of good quotes on science, because there's some wonderful ones about the nature of this whole scientific process of constantly questioning. It drives everyone mad but it's one of those things, like when I hear a word that I know but I don't understand, I will ask people for clarification on it, because I look like a freaking idiot because I don't know any words, but there's a vocabulary. I feel like, if I don't understand the underlying definition of the word, I may be missing something in the discussion that we're having. I think people get frustrated with me because they think I'm questioning them on whether they know the word. In many cases, people don't know what the word means. They'll use a word and not entirely understand the nuance of it. So sometimes it's good to, if it's a word that I don't entirely understand, and there are many of them, as I say, I'm a high school dropout. I don't know. Everything I've learned on my own, in my own way. So, so I don't trust any of this stuff, and I don't trust any of my knowledge. Socratic method. Yes. Oh God, Socrates, old Socrates. He was good at that. The question stuff. Oh, I love those. I remember reading those back. Back in the Scanners 2. I think when I was doing Scanners 2, I was plowing through Plato and reading all about Socrates and his ways of asking questions until it was always very conveniently worked out that he was absolutely right every time. But I just loved that Socratic method of constantly questioning things the entire time. And I never have I end up getting distracted before I get to the end, get to the topic. But I still love that. Remember, kids, the only difference between science and screwing around is writing it down. Love it. Layer cake developer. I love that. Einstein said about science, one thing I learned in a long life, that all our science measured against reality is primitive and childlike, and yet it is the most precious thing we have. That's great. That's fantastic. I loved Richard Feynman. I never know how to say it. He had a quote that said, basically, unless you can build it, you don't understand it, which I thought was kind of cool. Like, until we can build a human brain, we don't understand a human brain. So, all right, what have I got on my list of thingies here? Right. Do we have anyone in the chat? I should go check. Oh, Lance is here. Lancer. So I'm turning my headphones back on. Lance? Hello?
Hello.
Hi, buddy. How you doing?
Good. I muted myself, and then now I'm not muted.
Yeah, it's good. Well, I can hear you much better when you're not muted, I find.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally.
Boy,
Yeah.
I,
Weird.
I, I learned so much about you today.
Yeah, a lot. So how are things? How's that was an amazing escape room meeting we had the other day.
We did. Then I had an equally amazing Google
Oh, did you?
meeting today.
Oh,
Yep.
fantastic. What's that?
There's already been 5 user updates to GameFace,
Oh, wow.
and
What
2 that have been approved
what
and moved forward
what
and
have they
promoted.
done? What have they done? What
I
have
don't.
they added?
I don't know. I know. They just told me about it, so now we're gonna have to check it out.
So how does it work? So they will people can push updates to what? GitHub or something?
Yep, that's the only place you can get GameFace right now is at GitHub.
Huh.
And that's one of the things I talked to them about is that regular people are not digging
Yeah.
downloading that and finding the run.
Yeah, and then getting finding the Run app, and then getting a message that says, "Are you sure you want to run this terribly dangerous software?" You know.
This software will make you sterile.
Yeah, this
Are
is
you-
it. You will never
you
have children
still want-
again. Never. Windows is resuming. Oh, look at you. Okay, all right, so you can start up. I'm just firing up my laptop, Lance.
Ooh.
Yeah, firing it up. Of course, it's not firing up. God,
So
I hate
I
Windows.
learned that one of your problems with conventions is that you're getting tired of your own material.
I don't have any material. This is the problem.
Well,
It's
sure
like,
you do.
but I feel like I'm
You're
asking.
just tired of it.
Well, it's not even tired of it. Like, I mean, I can tell the same story over and over again, and God knows I do. I feel like, you know, I just feel like, aren't people tired of it? Like, aren't?
But they're not. It's their first time. Or maybe they
It's
like
not
the
though.
reinforcement.
But that's what's so funny is like I see a lot of familiar faces when I go. Like it's been, how long has it been? Like 50 how long? I don't even. When did Stargate stop? I don't even know anymore. Did it stop?
I don't know.
It was like it feels like an incredibly long time ago. Why are you not?
You know what, though?
I see. Why it's not.
I understand you though, because when I was teaching, by 4th hour, I was like, man, my material is so stale now. I got to come up with something.
Well,
so 5th period, you have to throw in some cuss words. I don't. Go ahead.
I remember reading Michael Caine's biography, and then I read his next book, which was the same stories, the same stories, but they'd sort of somehow exaggerated somehow. Like the stakes had gone up on a few. They weren't all the same stories, but there were definitely a few repeated stories, and I only noticed because I listened to it because of course I want to hear. I can listen to Michael Caine forever. So I listened to Michael Caine's first biography, and then I was on a plane, and I just finished that up, and I thought, oh, I'll listen to the other one. I listened to the other one, and of course I was like, wait a second, he's telling the same story again. I just bought
this
the
is
second
like
book.
the Bible, man.
Come on.
The same story twice in a row.
The Bible was pretty good though. They had a lot of different things going on in there, didn't they?
Well, not really. Genesis comes through twice right away.
Does it?
Told in different words, and then like the whole Jesus thing, one time he says, Father, why have thou forsaken me, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And the other time he's like, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do.
Wasn't that all at the same time though? I thought that was all just part of the same story.
No, it's another. You're gonna have to go through it again.
It's been a long time.
They tell the same story twice a lot.
Okay, I've got a question for you. When you start up your laptop, why am I not getting a login screen? I'm just getting a screensaver. Is it because I had another HDMI plugged in? It probably is, isn't it? I'm going to go back to sleep again.
Oh, did it go over to maybe to a monitor or something?
Yeah, that was the problem. Is I have it plugged in. I was going to plug it in as an HDMI and have it as an external. I was gonna have work it as an external monitor so that people could see what was on my screen, but I can't do that because I can't get into it. Is that it?
I just thought of a part of the Bible that is good though, especially given our age. Not to respect your elders. It's the part where it's the part where God let the bears tear up those children for making fun of the bald guy.
Really?
Yeah, no, the bear killed him.
You found all the good stories in the Bible because The only one I remember just being
I'm
horrified.
just in reading it. I'm trying to read it from beginning to end, and it's
are you
so
really?
hard.
Which version though? There's like, what are you, the King James or the
Riri? What's the Riri Bible? Riri, something like that.
No idea.
It's supposed to be a fancy, expensive one.
Popping in.
Hey,
my record is not gone.
What's that?
I cannot have the tech minute today, so I'm just coming in to say my record is not gone. This is not the first tech minutes I've missed.
No, you haven't missed a single one. There wasn't supposed to be one today, anyways.
That wasn't tech. Did anyone else join that one?
No. You haven't missed any.
On YouTube unannounced.
I don't think you've missed any of them.
Okay, so this
counts
as my quick hi bye.
Okay, all right, very good. Where are you off to?
Hi bye.
He's gone already. He's like, hi bye. He wasn't. See, they grow up so fast, these kids. That is so weird. So I guess by plugging an HDMI port into the side of the laptop, it will not let me log in.
Now you borked everything.
I don't like Windows.
That can't be.
I find Windows very frustrating on a laptop. Okay.
You have a real hate relationship with laptops.
Yeah. But isn't that... I feel like it should be just better integrated with the... No, it's literally not letting me do it. Wow. It's crazy frustrating. I wonder
just to throw you off, underneath you there's a bottom third advertisement going by quite often.
Oh, really? Is it for hair loss?
It's Randy Macho Man Savage selling some kind of energy drink.
Really?
And that guy's been dead for a long time.
I do not need any more energy than I've got already. Although today I will lag pretty quickly because, as I said, I was watching horror movies way too late last night. I am unable to get in.
No, wait. Okay. Where's Trenton's? My tech expert's gone.
Can I change?
He's outside mowing the lawn.
Damn him! What's he doing in the real world? He's no use to you now. There.
Yeah, he's touching the hell out of grass. Yeah.
Oh my God! The best thing that Jane ever talked me into was fake grass.
That's just weird.
No, it sounds weird, but she put it in the backyard, and putting it in the backyard is so smart because there's nothing to match it to. Like if you're walking down the street and you see like lawn, plastic, you're like, what the hell? But in the backyard, it just looks like a beautiful green grass all the time. And the dog could do whatever the hell it wants on it, and I just, you bag it up or spray it down or whatever the hell's whatever's come out of its butt this time. It is not letting me log in. I'm gonna have to shut my laptop down to get back into it.
You've got this. You got this.
It shouldn't have to do this. This is wrong, Lance. It's wrong.
It's not right.
That van looked sweet, by the way. Lance is
thanks. Yeah.
Gotta get Lance a van somehow. But I don't understand why they're so expensive. Is it just because they're disability related or
it is yes. Okay, the ones that work really well for me. Okay, my head is it's hard to hold my head up and things, right?
Right.
So anything that's like has a big ramp coming down out of it is not good. Or even then the ones with the lifts, those are a little bit difficult. The new ones that are real cool. They kind of use the lowrider technology, and this is true. The side here, they call them kneeling vans.
Oh, they like tilt. They do the
right. They go. They come down.
Our buses do that.
Tilt, and then just a really short ramp pops out, and they're great for pretty much anywhere you want to park. Because you don't need like 3 parking spaces to get out. It's so great. So those are like $30,000 to $40,000 conversions.
Really?
So even if you bring in a van that's $40,000 or say you get a $20,000 used one, it has to be the right kind, has to be the right make and model.
And it's just because it needs a special like chassis or something. I guess it's got to have a reinforced one if it's going to have lifts and all that crap on it.
Right, and they add a lot of stuff to it. Right, it's got to be able to work with the battery of the battery of the car, the batteries that are added for the unit, and it has to be able to work manually, just in case.
Could you get an electric version of them? Or would that be even more expensive?
That's I think to get us into wanting one, that's the one they lent us so I could go get that surgery.
Yeah.
In August, it was a hybrid.
Yeah. Oh, the hybrids. Yeah, yeah. Then you're saving money on gas as well, right?
Yep. So it was really nice, but I think it was like 85,000.
God, that just seems crazy. Like, did you? Oh, by the way, did you? I think I discorded you this last night. One of the movies I watched last night was Crip Camp.
I want to see that.
Oh, dude, it's on Netflix. Well, maybe it's on Netflix in Canada. I don't know. Like, get yourself a. Maybe it's
I can
not.
find it.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find it. But it's. I didn't realize Michelle and Barack Obama were executive producers on it. They do some. They put their names on some interesting stuff. This was. It was. Well, we should talk about it. You should watch it. We should talk about it. But it was. I found it fascinating. But I kept hearing echoes of issues that you'd had, and you were having these issues well after a lot of the stuff that was fought for in the was it bill, whatever the bill was that they, what was the disabilities bill? Is it 504?
It was Americans with Disabilities Act. Well, there was a 501 way back. There was a Americans with Disabilities provision within the Civil Rights Act itself.
Right.
That was what, 67 or something like that? Whatever year it was. And then another one came through in 91, 92.
Well, this is talking about the first one, and I think it was 70 something. I think it was like 72. Does that make sense?
And it does. It could. But the problem is, okay, let's say driving 80 miles an hour down the highway is legal, and then they make it 55.
Right.
Just because they made it 55 doesn't mean everybody accepted it. Now everybody's pissed that they're driving 55.
Right.
So it doesn't mean the bigotry went away. It just means now you could possibly get in trouble for the bigotry
And only the federal buildings were held responsible for changing their. So the law basically was that it had to be sort of equal access for everybody, right? So is that right? Well, look, watch. I could totally see you at this camp. It was this camp was like Woodstock for people with disabilities. Like there was there's drugs and sex and rock and roll and oh my God, it's like it's crazy. And then they all went on to and were all or many of them became a part of this civil rights movement. And they're hanging out with the Black Panthers. They're oh my
God.
Dude, it's freaking awesome. But
I have a personal dream of popping a cap in someone's ass.
I think it's good to have dreams.
Yeah.
That was just so you know. That was your outside voice.
Yeah, I know.
Generally, yeah. Anyways, but it's ladies and gentlemen, Lance Carr. If you've got any complaints,
thank you.
Please direct them at Lance. He will use his GameFace on you. I can't wait to see what they've come up with, the new ones. Oh, but start it up. My computer started up. So I just, you know what it is? It's just because the Mac is tied to the operating system of the Mac is tied in. It's absolutely almost impossible to take it away from the hardware and the software with the Mac. And with Windows, I understand it's got to figure all sorts of stuff out. But this little system, I got to say, it was so much fun sitting up there with my kid, and he's like banging away, making, some little game thing, and I'm banging away, watching tutorials and trying all this stuff. And Unreal Engine, boy, it is fun, dude. I mean, now you've got like a GameFace, you could start having some fun with some of this game stuff yourself. Like get what's it, Unreal for Fortnite, and start creating your own Gimpy world. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. We should.
Were you working on your ideas of escape room inside of?
To be honest, I was just looking at how it worked. I didn't really get into the escape room stuff.
Yeah, a bit too hard to.
I just felt like
into what you want.
I feel like I was running before I could even stand at this point. So, what's so weird for me is when I think of game programming, I think of C or Python or and this is. It's not even like programming. It's more like just how to use another Photoshop or something, or After Effects. In fact, it's got elements of all of those things in it. There's even like a little animation section. I was animating a light just to see how it worked.
Oh, neat.
Because I'm an actor. It's all about the lights. I
didn't realize that until my show, but yeah.
Exactly, it's true. Oh, it's your show now, is it? Is that what it's called? Oh, Google that GimpyG Corporation.
I was told
Yeah.
that Google was actually fighting that.
What?
That they wanted it to be more corporate. And the director who met me and who made the script after we spoke, he's like, oh, okay, we're going to make this cool and funny. And
right. But Google wanted it to be more...
Yeah. So, and everybody's really happy. It's got like the same guy made the video for the hand interpretation.
Oh yeah.
Like they're making games so that as you learn sign language, it will tell you if you're making the correct sign.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
They were saying that I read an article about, I don't know if it was a kid who was working on it or someone. They're all kids to me. Well, to us.
Right. True.
And they were saying that one of the issues they were having was that the engineers, as we've had this discussion before, where the engineers will come up with an amazing engineering solution for how it can track the hands and the fingers, and it can recognize all these amazing hand gestures, but it still doesn't understand what people are saying, or it can't communicate what people want to say, because it was designed by someone who is sighted, who could hear.
Oh, yeah.
And part of the process of sign language, it's the face as well, right? Like you use the face as well, so it needs to.
I've seen, yeah, they're very emotive.
Yeah, and it needs to, because that is part of the communication process. And of course, again, when you just I'm going to come back to my snowflake wokeness, but this is the whole diversity thing, right? You want people from all backgrounds, because that is the way to find what's going to work for the most people, how to make things work properly. If you just have engineers working on disability issues, you're not going to have assistive tech. You're going to have cool engineering tech.
You're going to like this then. This fits perfectly. One of the things I'm being asked to help with is their blog, because they have the engineers doing a blog on GameFace.
Oh yeah.
And they're getting questions about, why did you do this? And they don't know, because I was the one who came up with it and told them to do it. So they want me in there because the engineers just did it.
So they can get mad at you.
No, I don't think it's mad. It's just like, well, how'd you come up with, locking it in place? Or why'd you come up with the idea to center the cursor and things like that?
The center one is great, except that I found it's actually easier to do what you taught me to do with your old i1, which is just look off to one side and then come back again. I find that much easier. Did you do that as well?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I found that, it's one of those things that, but I also understand the need, like certainly when I first started, I didn't know that. So I would just open my mouth and it would snap back to the front, to the center of the screen, which is great.
My intention was for them, I wanted it to center on a different screen so I could run two monitors.
Yeah, because we all as soon as I ran two monitors, we were scred. For me,
right?
Personally, I couldn't get it to work with two monitors. It was
smack it against the edge, right?
Well, yeah, because it's not, unless you have, I guess, a camera on both, and then it's like craziness. Did you ask them about that idea about we were talking about doing a hardware version that would plug in as a mouse? Did you ask them about that at all?
I'm sorry, I did not.
You suck, just so you know.
I suck.
And your blog sucks too.
No,
it's fine. I just thought I'd just be curious to know. It needs to be ported to USB. It needs to be ported to Linux first. But I feel like that can't be. I'm sure it's not trivial, but I can't imagine it's too complicated. If anyone here knows what the hell they're doing, the idea is this program is a Python program, so it'll run on everything. It won't run on anything. It should be able to run on everything. But right now, it is a very Windows-specific version. They have not even created a Chromebook version of it that I'm aware of yet. And then the idea was, I would love to port what they've got to... Hello, 0 Point. Thank you. I would love to port... Well, I would love to have what they've got ported to Linux so that we could run it on a little Raspberry Pi, have it plug into a system with its own little camera, so it's not fucking around with the system that you're already working with. And the biggest weakness I have with this thing is that it doesn't always play nice with every application. Whereas I think a mouse one that is just a mouse, that's all it worries about, in a nice cheap like Raspberry Pi Zero, whatever the hell they are, the little tiny Raspberry Pis. If we could run it on that, it'd be amazing. Or maybe there's a Coral board or something. I know they have a bunch of those as well. You know,
Mark LaPointe has been poking around. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there are only a couple of lines of code right now that need to be changed or managed to get it on Linux. Oh, what are they, Mark? What are the ones? Because we've, you know, I know a guy who knows some Google guys. I'm just saying. You know,
you are the guy that knows some Google guys.
No, I'm the guy who knows the guy who knows some Google guys. Well, they know me as the guy who makes snide comments while they're trying to code with you. I'm like basically, poor Lance is trying to get stuff going. The few ones that I was able to sit in on, because of course these jerks all did it while I was working. I would sit in the background going like, way to go, Lance. That's all I would do. I was absolutely no contribution at all beyond putting people in touch with each other. I was basically just like making fun of Lance the entire time, so no one took it too seriously. I use two screens and never considered that angle. Yeah, the two screen thing. I think most. Oh no, I don't know this. My sense is that most people who have an interest in being online as much as someone like Lance probably have a couple of screens, right?
I wish to, yes.
I'm not even sure if I'm a power user, and I've got two screens. So, you know, Baz, I don't even know how many screens he's got. God damn it, he's got the best house. He's got the best room in the house. That kid's never leaving the home.
Yeah.
Never leaving. There are a very reasonable lot where I work. It's hard work, but definitely rewarding. Oh, where are you working, Movie Lad? All good. Have been very busy. New job. Oh, wow. Moved into the games industry now. Ooh, cinematic horror titles mainly. Oh. Mr. Ted Raimi popped into the office. Oh, are you working on Dead by Daylight or whatever it's called? So that's been keeping me busy. Hope all is good with you. Oh, Movie Lad, that's fantastic. Oh my God, that's cool.
Awesome.
I gotta say,
Nicolas Cage is going to be in Dead by
Nick
Daylight.
Cage, that's it. Nick Cage is doing it. That's freaking awesome. When's David Hewlett going to be in Dead by Daylight? That's what I want to know.
That would be awesome. People cutting your head off. Sweet.
What? I would be the hero, of course. Can't say anything. Oh right, yeah, Movie Lab. What are you doing? You can't say anything. Okay. No, there was a press release saying, I don't know if it was a press release, but there was definitely an article about the fact that Nick Cage was going to be in one of these things. So, yeah, we'll put a word in for me, Movie Lad. Yeah. I would. My son and his friends love those games. I've sat down and watched those horror games as if they were a movie because my son and his friend would be playing it, and it was just so much fun to watch them. What are you doing? Oh, don't do that. Oh my God. And it had like horror elements because of course you've got this wonderful horror stuff in the games. And then you've got just this wonderful sort of social element where the kids are going back and forth trying to yell at each other for killing people. All right, let me see if I can find this Tech Bandit stuff, this email of awesomeness. I have had I was inspired again this week, the one that's going to come out this week, by Baz, because Baz had some he came back and said, "Have you seen this?" And I was like, "I have. I hadn't thought about that for ages." And then a lot of the stuff that was cool in 2010 is now being updated. So there's updates on the slime molds and things that I was looking into. All right, let me get.
Did you tell people that we're going to get glow in the dark suckers?
Ooh. How cool would that be? I hope it happens. I don't know. I'm assuming.
You don't think it'll happen? It'll happen.
If there's any complaints, please just direct them at Lance Carr. Yes.
No, you and I.
No, I'm sure it'll happen.
We're not giving them. We're not sharing with anybody.
I'll share them.
That's ours.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's true. So our wonderful friend who's helping us out with some escape room, well, probably is going to end up running the escape. The sense I get is she's going to end up running the world, basically, Jen.
Yeah.
Apparently she's got the inside track on some glow in the dark suckers, which could be very cool. All right, which is a medical technology they were talking about, which sounds really neat. I should look that up and do a bit on the email of awesomeness about that. All right. Email of awesomeness. Here we go. Awesome.
Okay. Awesome. Is this the one that has you in a bee suit at the top?
Yes, that's the one.
I have a prediction.
Okay, what do you got?
In 8 months, you will no longer wear clothes. You'll just stream, and then have
in a bee costume.
You'll have that Mid-Journey create clothes for you based upon what you say.
Well, dude,
and just be a nudist.
That is like that. You know, that's interesting because as a complete aside, sort of as without thinking joke, the title of this, I added fashion icon to my list of credits.
You did?
I did. So maybe AI fashion icon. Maybe I'll just throw that in there. There was a bunch of stuff that I thought was cool. One of them was this, and the reason why I ended up in a bee suit was ants. These ants, like we've spent all this time. There's a really funny theme that sort of formed itself while I was writing this one, amongst all the bad spelling and grammar. Was that there was the study done, or a bunch of these science punks had figured out how to. They're trying to detect these volatile organic compounds, which really just means like chemicals that steam quickly. Basically, they evaporate very quickly. We used to hear a lot about them with the ozone and all this. They had all these concerns about these volatile compounds. Anyways, apparently, our blood can actually give, or our bodies can give off these VOCs as biomarkers for cancer. So if you got cancer, it can create these very specific volatile compounds, which can be sensed by dogs. So dogs can be trained to sniff and say, basically, so if you have cancer, it just automatically attacks and kills you. No, I'm kidding. But it would just be kind of cool that in a horror movie, that's what would happen, right? It'd be like, you'd be targeted because you've got, you're sick. But there's this, this idea that because the dog's nose is like 90 times more sensitive than ours, it can actually pick up these things. And if you think about it, our noses are pretty freaking awesome unto themselves in that we can pick up like just a trace element of an odor in a room, like a tiny particles in the air. We're somehow able to sense them ourselves. So imagine crazy better skills in a dog, and as it turns out, in ants as well. So basically, they're saying like instead of trying to create these, like they've got gas chromatography, which I didn't know anything about. Did you know? I guess you must have known about gas chromatography.
Yes.
It's just so cool. Like I'd always like it. It's one of those things that, again, I feel like people use terminology. People talk about things all the time. And I'm always amazed that they don't always know what everything means. Because I want to know, when I hear gas chromatography, I'm like, what the hell is gas chromatography? Anyway, so I just thought this was the coolest thing. I just thought it was absolutely cool.
So where does that fit into what you were saying before? Before you said there are people who only believe in science that bolsters their already inane beliefs, or inborn beliefs, not inane. They are inane. But,
innate?
Innate.
Look, they may not be wrong. They may not be like they literally may not be wrong, but it just seems weird to only take in the stuff that validates your position as opposed to potentially.
I saw people not believing in dinosaurs because of that.
Oh, right. Because God didn't create dinosaurs on the seventh day or whatever it was.
He did that to trick us. That way we'd have to have more faith. But anyway, so.
Yeah, it's a good point, Spider. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Spider was saying that our sense of smell is very good, so we can pick up flatulence on set.
See, I had so many fart jokes go through my brain.
Yeah, see?
I didn't do them out of respect for you, David.
That's very good. Well, Spider jumped in for you.
Thank you, Spider.
Yeah.
But something like the gas chromatography is not something they believe or don't believe, right? I mean, there's nothing to believe. So I don't get it, how they think they'll trust the results of it, not knowing what it does in the least. Because they know science is a good method of coming to conclusions and looking at the world. But then they blindly accept it because they can't understand it.
I guess that's it. I mean, I struggle because I feel like I learned something, and unless I'm learning it all the time, it very quickly fades from my knowledge. Like I did an entire Google course, and I still now I go back to use like even just Google Sheets, and I have to look stuff up again because I haven't I know I learned it. I know it can do these things. I just can't remember exactly how it's done. I suppose that's same for anybody, I suppose. But the gas chromatography just was kind of neat because it's such a strangely simple idea where, I didn't realize I'm assuming we were using some kind of chromatography, like a paper chromatography for all of those COVID tests, right? Which basically you put your sample on a little piece of paper and it diffuses into the paper. And depending on what the particles are, they get further or closer to the source. Depending on they're either they don't move as far or as fast as different. They can basically gauge what your specimen is made up of by how far these things go into the paper, basically.
Right, a litmus test, if you will.
Indeed, in fact, literally a litmus test, is it not?
Correct.
So the idea with the gas chromatography is that you're putting in a sample into a coil of gas, or apparently, if you want to get even smaller amounts, you can use like a fused quartz. Apparently, is the stuff, and it basically separates the components on how fast or slow they move through the coil, and then it toasts them. Then it like burns them when they pop out at the other end. When they comes out at the end of, they make that long journey through the coil. And they're like woohoo, and then we just ignite them. And you ionize them, and then you can this electrical signal that they give off is what creates the peaks and valleys in these chromatography things. So basically you know from record that if you get a spike at this time after a sample has been put in, that's probably, let's say, methane, and then a spike here is probably whatever. So that's
what's it called when they do that with like suns and things, like when they see a sun in a different galaxy.
That's spectrum. Isn't that spectrometry?
Yeah, spectrometry.
I guess they're using
really similar,
light.
Isn't it?
I guess so.
They look for a spike, and that spike means helium or iron or whatever.
Oh, I wonder if that's how they. I don't know. I mean, that's going to be light. That's going to be electromagnetic energy, right? Whereas the ones that this is giving off would be electrical, based on timing and I guess the strength of the I guess the ionization or whatever the term would be. I'm not sure exactly what it is.
I don't know. So conductivity. I don't know.
So I don't. They do seem similar. I'm not sure if they're the same. But I guess they're both. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. I have no idea.
I don't know.
To answer your question, I don't know.
Perfect answer.
Exactly. See, because I'm not a scientist. Anyways, I just thought this was a brilliant thing, and basically what they've done is they've visualized smell, which I just think is kind of cool.
That's cool.
The idea that they've somehow figured out how to make a smell visible, and then they've also created these e-noses, which again I'll go into more of this later. I've got to go down that rabbit hole more because they've literally created things like what do they call them? What do I have written down here? Smell boards. Isn't that cool? They have these little boards, like little boards you can plug into like an Arduino or whatever, and it'll sense different things based on whatever the chips are programmed to do.
If that's digitizing a smell, will we be able to go the opposite direction with a base set of proteins or something?
At some
generate
point,
smells that we want?
I guess at some point we should be able to. But again, can we just skip all
I
this
would
crap?
Want to smell your character in C, that's for sure.
Well, there you go. Yeah, there you go. That goat-like smell of villain. I just feel like we should skip all that. Just go straight to the tap the brain. I don't know why we're bothering trying to make things it's like, to me, it's like trying to like attach things to a monitor as opposed to just changing the programming of the computer. That's you know what I mean? Like I feel like at some point we've just got to realize that if you want a truly immersive experience, it's got to be direct feed into the brain, which I guess people are uncomfortable with. I'm not, because when I get old and infirm, I can't wait to be plugged in.
I would love to know what it's like to run, at least based on whatever you guys experience.
Yeah, there you go. Here's what I experience. I experience pain in my heart and my lungs, a lot of coughing and wheezing, kind of headachy, and and
explosions in your knees,
and sweaty, and a lot of sweatiness in places you just didn't even know you had. Anyways,
what do you think Scanners 2, David, smelled like? I'm thinking high karate, and a bag of onions, but I don't know.
Really, I'm thinking more like 80s hair gel and
Oh, true.
80s hair gel and maybe even like and maybe bleach, like Sun In or something. Like I think there's a, you know, I think it's, to me, 80s David smells like a 1980s hair salon
where they could smoke.
Where you could smoke.
Like
oh it. Yeah. Du Maurier extra mild. All right. So the whole point of this was that there's all these incredibly cool ways of detecting these volatile volatile, what do we call them? What are the VOCs for? Volatile organic? Is it organic? What do they call them? I'm going to double check, make sure I'm saying the right thing. Yes, volatile organic compounds. And then some genius goes, well, wait a second, ants can do that, and they're really cheap.
So cool.
They're really cheap. They're really easy to train, or they're easier than a dog to train. They're easier than a dog to feed. Well, they literally train them.
Okay.
So they go, okay, if you go to this smell, I give you sugar water. If you go to that smell, I don't. So
okay. So
you're
not training them. You're just like, yeah, okay, I get you.
But it does train them. It gets to the point where they get to the point where they'll go into a dish and go, oh, I'm going straight for that smell because I know I get sugar if I do that. And they've actually got so good that they could distinguish between different types of the same cancer. Like that's how good these little critters are at this stuff. So you start going like, well, it reminded me of this one that they'd done before, and thus the bee suit, which was they were using bees to detect explosives.
Were those bees glued inside that little vacuum?
They're actually,
or just their heads sticking out.
They're these little cartridges that they can suck. They basically suck in the ants. The ants go down through a series of tubes and end up getting trapped in these little compartments where their little heads stick out, and then they get snapped into place. They get snapped into place. My hunch is most of them probably die eventually, but they claim that that they're released after 2 days or whatever. But they're basically bee cartridges, and you know what they're doing? They're checking their, well, I don't know what the term for it, proboscis or whatever, their tongue basically. So what'll happen is, again, they'll get sugar water or whatever, honey water, or whatever the hell they give them, if they smell this explosive, traces of this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So they get trained that way, and then they put them in this machine, and they had this handheld bomb detecting unit. And then some other science punk genius goes, wait a second, I don't want to hold a bomb detecting unit. I'll get blown up. You know what I mean? Is there a bomb there? Is there a bomb there? There's a bomb there. Boom. So what they did was they trained the bees, and then they will release them. And they'll track where the bees cluster. Isn't that wild? Now, again, not great for airports. Cool. Not great for airports. You know, you don't really want swarms of bees flying through airports causing, that's like a 1970s horror movie. Airport bees. Killer airport bees.
Wouldn't it be, okay, think about this. Your shop vac will suck, and if you flick the switch, it will, hurl out air. Could you then have a bee gun? You have a bee gun. Which would be cool. There you go. Exactly. Yeah.
A one-shot bee gun.
I thought there were mini bees. Okay, just one?
No, there's not, in the swarms.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
In the swarms that they're doing now, which is a much more humane way of doing it. Let's face it. This just seems like a much, but in an airport situation, potentially someone could come at you with a vacuum-looking machine, and it's got a series of bees in there that if they stick their tongue out at you, you're going for secondary check.
That is so interesting.
Isn't that wild? But I just love, this is a fascination that I've had. Like, that I'm a total freaking sucker for assistive tech. I just love the concept of technology making us better humans. But the idea of using like biology as a source. There's a thing that just to spoil my email of awesomeness for next week or this week or whatever it is. There's actually there's a chip that's being designed around the slime mold, which I just thought was really cool. Yeah. So we're basically ripping off nature all over the place, and what it leads to, which is the next thing, which is the military ass. I couldn't resist that as a title. Military ass. So So the military spent $42 million on that giant, that giant like Boston Dynamics
dog horse thing.
Yeah, the giant, and it was like gas powered. You could hear it coming from a couple of countries away, and it was amazing technology. And I was like, oh my god, this is so cool! It's like an electric horse basically. How cool is that? And then someone pointed out that
Horse does that.
We've already got mules.
Nice.
And mules are way better in the field because you don't have to refuel them. They just eat the grass. You give them some water. They're bonded to people. They actually work on, the military's working on bonding them to the people who are using them, so that they'll help each other out. And I was suddenly
like, you're unconscious, yeah.
But again, that's the engineering problem, right?
Yeah.
Like, why not just have a mule? Like, instead of
a mule.
So there's your military ass. There you go.
Wait, is a mule the one that can't breed?
I believe so. Sterile? Is that right? Are they, or is it the donkey?
I can't remember.
I feel like a mule is sterile, but I could be wrong. Let's see. There's got to be a mule expert in here somewhere.
I'm almost positive you could train a donkey to go to war with you, and then when you pass out, it could like take you back to the bar. Because I saw that in television back on the westerns and stuff.
Oh yeah, because the horse was always way smarter and would that's right. Would look after its owner. Yeah.
Yep.
Mules do need rest though, and may respond adversely in certain situations or stress, high, low temperatures, or loud noises or such. Yeah, I guess what they're saying, Ms. Hojat, was that they'd sort of taken that into consideration and still felt that the mules were better than these giant hulking, gas-powered donkeys that they were using before. Mules are donkeys and horses bred, so they can't breed. Yeah, that's it. Okay. There's a bee chain gun in Half-Life 1? I didn't know that.
Cool. That's so awesome.
And robots are way more expensive. That's the other thing, is like just fuel alone for this stuff. Anyways, I'm looking forward to the creepy stuff when we get into these organic computer
that's what you like.
Combos. That's
you
what
love
I'm
this idea of organic technology.
Yeah.
Because, it's got a billion-year head start on us.
Yeah.
On just taking shots at the wall.
Well, that's it. It's like, this is the stuff that James Gurney's dealing with his phage stuff. Like the idea that, we've got antibiotic resistant bacteria. Oh no, what will we do? Well, nature's been dealing with that for years, millions of years, probably billions. I don't even know. But, with their phages, like that's another thing we should talk about at some point. Community escape. Yes, right. So we're doing escape rooms at the community center. I bought a bunch of these puzzles, and then I'll get my printer working, and then I'll actually be able to print them out. But, I got to say, I was playing with them the other day when I was supposed to be asleep. And it's so much fun. It's really,
it is.
It really is. Like it's, I mean, some of them you go like, oh, that's easy. And then you go, oh, no, it's not. Like, it's like they're so good at these escape puzzle things now that they anticipate your response. If that makes sense. Like they actually, they like go like, aha, they're going to think it's just the first letter of every sentence, but it's not. You have to use that to do something else. Hey, is LordChunky in here?
Yes, I am.
Holy crap! How are you, buddy?
LordChunky.
Good. Hi.
Are you here because I bought a laptop? Are you here to berate me?
Oh, you bought a laptop? I didn't even realize.
Ah, never mind. Nope, no, I didn't. Why would I do that? That would be stupid.
Gaming laptop? Like
I bought it's a low-end gaming laptop. It was on special. It was an HP Invictus thing, and it was great because it means I can go upstairs and sit with Baz while we do Unreal Engine and stuff. So it's kind of cool.
Okay.
Does LordChunky know he's speaking to a world famous person right now?
World famous?
That's Lance.
Yeah, me. Yep.
How so?
I was on the Google I/O expo because of GameFace.
He's shameless.
Like. There's a
I/O
video
expo?
of me and everything. Yeah.
Have you seen? You haven't, Lord?
I haven't heard of Google I/O.
So
go ahead.
No, you go, Lance. You're doing such a good job of it. You go.
Thank you. Okay, it's basically an expo of what are they doing this year in Google. I'm sorry, so I'm talking. I'm going to. And like, what innovations are they doing? And then I was kind of, hey, look, what if AI wasn't spooky? So we made it a device called GameFace that will use a regular webcam, look at your face, put basically a vertex over it, and wherever you move, that's where the cursor goes. And then you can set it up if you blink or raise an eyebrow, it will click, and it's free to everybody.
Or do the church
you can
lady.
Get it. Yeah, church lady or Elvis.
Yeah, I did a lot of Elvis.
People are disabled like David and are lipless.
I have no lips. It's true.
The lipless are in, they have trouble. But we've thought.
What would that be called though? Lip. If I'm, there's got to be like a. I mean, I should be offended. Challenged? I should be offended by lipless, shouldn't I?
Yes, you should.
I gotta come up with a better term than that.
Or you could just put some lipstick on.
It's a lipsability.
Ooh.
Nah, it's terrible. You just put lipstick
you've got to try it, Chunky. Yeah, because it's cool, it's free, and it's also open source. So
yeah, and it's brand new. Cool. It's brand new. So it's this thing called what's it called? Media.
That's what it's overlaying. The AI underneath of GameFace is called MediaPipe, and they took 30,000 faces and physically picked 468 points of reference.
My son is home. All right, kiddo. I'm just streaming.
And it's called GameFace. So check it out, buddy, and tell me what needs fixed, what it needs, or tell me if you need help. Are you old enough to have a Twitter yet?
I have Twitter. I just don't use it at all.
I don't understand Instagram. Well, I do. It's all sideways on my iPad, so I said.
Oh yeah, like some of those apps on iPads are really weird. Like they think about the phone, and the iPad is just like, so we'll take it and then we'll just flip it. So there's a phone on your iPad. It doesn't really make much sense.
I've never understood that though. Why can't you just use your iPad like a phone? Why doesn't it work like that?
I don't know.
For some apps you can, like if you turn it sideways.
Really? I thought a lot of apps just didn't, or they wanted to, like, I used to use Things as my to-do list, but then they wanted me to pay for a separate version for the iPad and on the iPhone. I was like, screw you, I'm not paying twice for it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Forget
it. Sons of monkeys.
You sons of monkeys. LordChunky, what have you been up to? You've been doing some 3D printing for PC parts and stuff.
Yes, I did do some of that. That's been pretty cool.
And it's worked out?
Yeah, it's been working good so far.
And what exactly are you doing? You're adding fans or a fan system or a cooling system?
So like I had like these radiators that were just like held together jankily with like, these like kind of like
jankily
90-degree.
Is that
jankily?
Jankily?
Yeah, that's
I like
word
that.
I'm gonna
I like
use
that.
for it.
I like it. I like it. Somebody put that in
just like these like brackets. I think they were just meant to like just hold two boards. So like these 90-degree brackets that had two holes in them.
Right.
But I wasn't using the 90-degree part because I just needed like basically just a piece of metal with two holes in it to like hold these three sets of radiators together.
Three?
So then
because you got the 30
radiators.
Do you have the 4090, the 3090? What have you got?
I have a 3090.
Oh, so you got, but that's a lot of cooling.
Yeah, it's a lot of cooling.
Yeah.
It's more than
Wait, you cooled your graphics card?
Yeah, I water cooled everything.
Oh,
so you've created a custom cooling system that will cool both your CPU and your GPU. And is there anything else that needs to be cooled in there? Is there any other parts?
It's probably a continuous.
No, mostly just it's like a closed loop. Wow. Just CPU and GPU.
And what do you
RAM
put in it?
needs
Water?
to be cooled, but like it doesn't need to be cooled with water. You can just like air cool the RAM.
Oh, okay. And cooling the RAM, does that speed it up as well?
If you're running like really high voltages through the RAM, if you want like high speeds, if it's too hot, it can cause instability. Huh?
Have you done any cap modding on your 3090?
No, it doesn't really need it because it's a higher end card.
It's a beast.
The cap modding is for the old stuff that just doesn't have a good VRM.
My RAM runs at 6 gigs, so it's pretty okay.
Jesus, you are like you're just a walking flex now, Lance. It's like, it's like, have you seen me? Have you seen me at Google? And I've got the fastest computer from Moist Critical. You're gonna turn into like this like Hollywood name dropping guy.
I got 4600 on DDR4, which isn't too bad.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got 4 new USB ports.
Nice.
That was as exciting as I got. Although I will say, mine has a heating block on it. It has a whatever it's called. What do they call it? Those blocks, the metal blocks to cool it down.
On what?
It's on literally my USB card. I bought a new USB card that has 4 ports, but it's not just 4 ports; it's 4 channels. So it's 4 new complete USB channels.
Okay, so it uses like the PCIe.
It uses the PCIe. Yeah, exactly. So it's great because I've got like, oh my god, it makes all the difference. Just suddenly having enough.
Like, a whole bunch of like high-speed USB.
Oh my god! So you can can have all the cameras plugged in, all that. That's the plan with that. But
that's a great idea.
It has a giant heatsink on it. It's like that's how. Like so, it's obviously doing. It was. I bought the more expensive one. You could buy these little USB cards for like $40, but I thought, nah, $40. It's gonna be one channel split amongst whatever they have on the card. This is 4 separate ones. So just so you know.
So you actually stuck it in your computer.
I did.
It's not.
I did, yeah.
I was thinking of doing something like a Thunderbolt hub. So come out of the Thunderbolt.
Is Thunderbolt USB 3?
I think 3.2
Is Thunderbolt the same thing?
There's different standards of Thunderbolt.
I get so confused. Like USB-C.
USB and that kind of stuff is so confusing.
Yeah.
There's so many different standards and.
Well, and didn't Apple just get told they had to conform to one type? Now it's all got to be USB-C or something now.
Right, they can't do
USB-C is just
anymore.
a type of port. You could have like different USB-C ports. You can have like different speeds.
Oh shit, that makes it even more
different charging capacities. And
I just went with the classic old. I just went with the classic. It's 3, just the 3.0, because I figured like my system isn't, you know, anything that I've got plugged into it's all like webcams or whatever. It's not going to be. That thing's going to.
Your quad stick needs to plug into a USB-B.
Does it?
USB-B? Oh,
what's that? The old one?
It kind of almost looks like a phone jack.
Yeah, it's huge. The one it's like the USB with an extra bit on top of it.
I think it's just I know it's USB-B, and it was like where I had to get a specific, like a little higher end. Oh, but it didn't matter to me though.
The cable.
Motherboard.
Oh, you did?
So I had the USB-B.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the other one didn't have it.
I've never had a problem with it, but I just plug it. It's probably in my 3.1 or something. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah.
But it wouldn't even fit into a regular USB port. I don't think with it.
Like a different port or something. No.
Yeah.
It could be like depending on when you buy it, they change some of the stuff, like the jack on it.
Like I feel like I can't keep track of it. Like I want to. I feel like you almost need to pick. You need to sort of like pick a stream, like one very specific thing, like what you're doing, LordChunky, with like with the cap modding, that kind of stuff. Like you just find something like just a little narrow focus, find your niche, and then just know everything about it.
And then there's still so many like streams within the niches.
Oh my god, that is. Although I gotta say, the cap modding stuff, there's like there's one big one.
Well, like cap modding is like, it's just like adding capacitors to a graphics card. So it's like.
With a soldering iron, with a freaking soldering iron
as a whole. The other thing I'm trying to learn is like a lot more complicated. It's like a VID mod.
Voltage.
The
voltage, whatever it's called.
VID, yeah, it's like the voltage like identifier. So it's like a hexadecimal thing.
Jesus.
That like so there's like this PWM controller.
Yeah. So there's like a PWM. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just thinking. didn't Nvidia's got you locked down? Right?
Well, this is getting around the lockdown stuff.
Okay, I thought. Okay,
so this is okay. This is on older cards too. Some of the newer cards they have like protections, but this gets around.
But why are they locked down? What are they locking it down to stop you from doing?
Just applying too much voltage and killing your card.
Or like burning the house down.
Faster than one of the higher end cards. They don't like that either.
Right. What if you?
If they make a card too overclockable, why would you buy a 3070 if you could buy a 3060 and overclock it?
Oh,
see?
I see.
Or what if you got a 3090 and you want it to go for 2 generations? So then you overclock it. Yeah, see.
I was amazed that the 3090s are now on par expense-wise as the 4070s.
They're not super expensive anymore.
The 4070 Ti's aren't bad.
Mine was a fancy one and it was like 800. It wasn't too bad.
For the 3090?
800 US.
Did it fall off the back of a truck? Did you buy it from a guy from a trench coat in the back of an alley?
No, on eBay. But like after, it was like 800 USD when I bought it. But by the time you buy something from the US, pay taxes, imports, and shipping to Canada.
Oh god, that's right.
Really, 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 really adds up. So.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
This border thing is so stupid. It drives me
Especially
nuts.
between Canada and America.
When is America just going to invade? Come on. Like, get on with it.
Yeah, if I don't have to pay imports, I don't
Yeah, I mean, that's, we'll give up our country just for some free imports and, and better delivery from Amazon. Plus, we get.
Didn't they say, yeah.
Plus, we'd also
Isn't Canada America's hat? Didn't they say that?
Yeah, it's a toque. It's a toque, you bastard. A toque. What I'm going to ask, there's one last thing I'm going to add to my email of awesomeness, which I put in. Baz is like has turned into like one of these like soccer fans. He's going to start wearing like cheese hats on and things. I don't know, whatever soccer fans do. They torch stadiums and stuff, don't they? And make racist slurs by the sound of it. Did you hear about that?
They headbutt things.
No.
Real Madrid, apparently. I think it was Real Madrid. Or no. I can't remember now. There was a team, there's a player on some Brazilian team that's basically like filing human rights whatever the term would be, because he's got the racist treatment he's getting. He's a black player, and apparently he's just getting hurled such abuse from the fans that he's filing a case about it and wants the FIFA to deal with it. They're saying that the racism. Anyway, so the point being of that was see, outrage. See, Twitter. You go to Twitter, what happens?
Outrage.
Right away, outrage.
Outrage. I am outraged.
Yeah, I think it's just easier to just go like, I don't like racism, and I'll just leave it at that, and then I won't go on Twitter and look it up. There's a fantastic video. Of these little robots learning how to play soccer, and the technology is like really cool. Like it's really, they have to learn everything from they have to learn how to get up if they fall down. They have to learn how to block. They have to learn how to act defensively as well as offensively. And then they discovered that these little robots, they were hurting their knees. Like the servos kept failing on the knees. So they had to train them to not overexert their knees as well. So I just thought that was kind of funny that they've had to iterate through all this stuff. But the video is the cutest thing ever. It looks like a bunch of drunk toddlers trying to play soccer.
How big are they? When I was looking at it, I couldn't tell.
I'll copy the link and I'll paste it into a paste. I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, I read the awesomeness. I just couldn't.
Oh, of course you did.
It kept flipping back and forth.
What do you mean kept? What do you mean?
Like it would show
for
VR,
God's sake.
and then it would show real life people's.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. No, there was just a bit of footage that just made me laugh. That's all. All right, wait a second. Let me get into Twitch, and I realized I was not in here, and then I'm gonna have to flee soon because my son is home. I'm trying to be a dad and all that crap.
Gotcha.
Okay, wait a second. What am I doing?
Sounds inconvenient, but
doesn't it? I know, this whole parenting thing. God.
Didn't you talk to a 2-year-old this weekend?
A 2-year-old?
I did. I was at a 2-year-old's birthday party.
Yeah, aren't they stupid? God, 2-year-olds are dumb.
Well, but watching them play soccer is hilarious.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my God, the links that this thing puts out is crazy. I guess because I'm copying them from my Mailer Lite mailing. The links are like 14 pages long. But there you go. There's the link to the soccer playing robots in there.
Yeah, it's like a whole bunch of the stuff on the end.
It's I guess it's a tracking thing so that I get credit for for sending people there or something, or it'll be able to say,
nice.
Look, someone else opened your email and they didn't really. All right, LordChunky, any other cool things happening? What else you got going? Have you set yourself up in your new gaming space?
Yeah, pretty much. Mostly set up now.
LEDs?
Yeah, lots of LEDs.
Really? You did? You went
on the computer in the room.
Not in the computer, in the room. Okay, very good.
Yeah,
very good.
like I got some. There's like a TV down there. I put some behind the TV.
Oh, nice.
I got like these 2 like really bright RGB lights to put in each corner.
Oh, cool. I saw one that they will sync the light to what's on the screen.
No, they're not that fancy. They're just like dumb.
They're
LED
dumb
lights.
LEDs. That's all I've got. I had LEDs in my computer that I'd put in myself. And there was this really weird noise coming from the computer, and I thought, oh man, here we go. This is it.
Were the LEDs in a fan?
Yeah, it was LEDs in my power supply.
Yeah, that'll do it.
The glue had come off, I guess, and it was just like every so often. So yeah, there you go.
A neat noise.
It's pretty good, Yeah, it's good. It's fun. Ancriatus has a sanitized link. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's so nice.
All right, what do we got?
Oh wait, but now he doesn't get credit. LordChunky, please watch the video. GameFace.
Oh yeah, we should look that one up.
What's it called? GameFace.
Project GameFace, and it's under the Google YouTube channel. You can put Lance Carr too, because that's me.
It's a great. I gotta say, it's a great.
What's cool is
they watch that later.
They couldn't put my Marvel or my Baby Yoda stuff in the video, so they took that all off the walls. Yeah, like merchandise, right?
Merchandise for Disney,
but they bought like 3 packs of those nano leaves, and made like a little. Cool. And they just left them. So
it would be kind of rude for them to like buy those, put them up in the background, and then just take them away at the end.
Well, I mean, but it's like
that's what they do in the home renovation shows, apparently.
Oh, really?
They got these neat neon-looking signs. You know, it looks like a Saturn with a ring.
Oh, really?
They left all kinds of stuff. An on-air sign. So that's
cool. No way.
Yeah.
I want to get an on-air sign. Of course, that would just stop my son
maybe
from coming.
If you were super important.
God damn it! I've got to somehow get super. I got to get super important fast, really fast.
Really fast.
That's it. And what do you got? What do you got set for the summer? Are you doing? Did you just?
I'm probably gonna get a job.
Yeah. What do you think?
Gross.
Yeah, very gross.
Well, it depends. If you if you get something that's fun and then you get paid for it, that's freaking.
It'll be lifeguarding, so it'll be.
Oh, that's
not
good.
Incredibly fun, but.
You're gonna be like that guy from Stranger Things, just hanging out.
Oh, that guy that all the moms like him.
Yeah, that's it. You're gonna be mom's favorite.
Oh my God, he is gonna be that.
That's it.
Except he's cool too.
Yeah.
He's like way nicer than Steve.
He's gonna be sitting there.
Gonna be like, "Oh, LordChunky, how's it going?"
He's gonna be sitting there with a liquid cooled. He's gonna have like a liquid cooled bathing suit. With like fans,
when you go in the water, that happens.
Well, there's that.
That's true.
But like an engineer, I've over-engineered it.
Yes.
It's specific. You're not allowed in the water anyways. You got to sit up. Don't you have to sit up in the big chair looking down?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's like a
yeah.
Like some kind of like phase change cooling for like bathing suit. That'd be great.
But that's kind
of a liquid cooled bath.
Shut up. I was thinking he wasn't allowed to go in the water. They're never allowed to swim, right? They're never allowed to go in the water.
No,
man.
I'm crying.
Yeah, that's it. But that's talking about over engineering. Look, we made a mule, or you could just use a mule. Yeah, that was earlier. I don't know if you were there for that, LordChunky. But there was the military spent $42 million creating a gas powered,
I heard
autonomous,
that like horse donkey thing.
Yeah, and then someone said like, well, why don't we just go back to the mules, because that's like literally
better.
You just feed them. You feed them grass. Like that's like you don't have to put gas or batteries or any of that crap in it. I mean, I guess it's just not as exciting. There was one we talked about this a while back about the accessibility, the some of the tech where there was this woman who had this incredibly complex artificial arm. I guess she has a partial limb or something, and all of the crazy engineering that went into making this thing seem like a hand. And she's like, I don't like, it doesn't work. Like it works for certain things, but very specific things. In many cases, it's better to have, in some cases, a hook is better. Right. Mm-hmm. Or just a lump of rubber that allows you to, flick through pages better and stuff like that. But engineers don't want to do that. That's not exciting to an engineer. Engineer wants
they want to make over-engineer something that does a whole bunch of.
They want freaking Iron Man. They don't want Rubber Man. They want like an eraser on the end of a stick. They want they want a giant a
Dean Cain did that, dude. Do you know who that is?
Dean Cain? Well, the old Superman from
Superman. No, not the old Superman. What's that guy's name? Dean Kamen?
Dean Kamen. Yeah. He's the Segway.
He made an electric wheelchair.
Sit up and beg.
Segway tech, right? But it only would work for a paraplegic who doesn't want a big electric chair. They want a small, lightweight one that they can jump in their car and throw it in themselves. You know what I mean? So he just built something for no one.
It's funny, and so originally he built the chair, and then that's the technology that then became the Segway. Like that.
Oh, it is.
That ability to stand up.
Chair first.
Yes, the chair first.
Okay.
I mean, it's cool technology, and I guess everyone is zipping around on those stupid hoverboards and stuff. Although I just always feel
not anymore, really. Oh, there's like, one wheel things that people use now.
Yeah, those are kind of cool, but
those are interesting.
I still feel like it's just an accident waiting to happen.
Oh yeah, for sure. But they make a lot more sense than the hoverboards. They're somewhat practical.
Are they? The one wheel is better? One giant wheel is better than two little ones?
Because like you can kind of ride them around stuff versus the hoverboard was like slow and then.
I'd love to try.
It has small wheels, so it gets stuck on things.
I would love to try a big, beefy one wheel system. Or an entire Iron Man outfit too would also.
How did you make that sound sick?
What?
Okay, go ahead.
A big, beefy one wheel system? Come on, what is that? How does that? What's wrong? That sounds chunky. Doesn't that sound manly to you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, very, very manly.
Very manly. That's when you think of.
Did you ever watch that episode of South Park?
I don't. You know what's funny is I think I've watched maybe one episode of South Park in my entire life.
Only one.
That was only one.
I watched the movie.
I haven't seen the movie.
The movie's great. The movie's fantastic. I remember seeing an original. There was, I don't know whether this was like whether this was just like an urban legend or whatever. But when I was in,
The Spirit of Christmas.
Is that it? So it was.
Yeah.
I saw that. Wasn't that like Jesus fighting?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
That was how it started.
Fighting Santa Claus.
Yeah, that was it.
You got one of those copies of the video of that?
Well, it was video.
Or did you saw one?
It was. I just saw it. I don't remember where I saw it, but it was like.
Wow.
But it was like, yeah. Apparently, it was like someone said that George Clooney sent it out.
That's what somebody commissioned them to make it.
I heard it was George Clooney, but that could just be another urban legend.
I don't know.
Goodbye. Who knows? Yeah. All right. What's we got in here? Anything else going? Exciting things? Let me see.
I think you should look at the Kurt's got this week, David. It's got how proteins make cells work, and it's really cool.
Oh, cool. They're always, God, I love their stuff. The weird thing on YouTube, I'm going to see if I get my voice even higher. The weird thing I'm finding on YouTube is that the stuff that I watch is not going to the top, and not, like the people I'm subscribed to, unless I go to my subscription page, I'm not seeing a lot of stuff.
Too.
Yeah, YouTube's like that now. It just recommends to you what it thinks you'll like rather than.
Well, I've already said I like.
I have an idea for TikTok.
Yeah.
Just to embarrass my son, I have an idea to do something on TikTok.
Are you going to make a TikTok?
I'm thinking about making a TikTok.
That should do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't think so?
Do it.
It feels weird to do it now.
First.
They're about to get banned anyways. What if I do it on YouTube Shorts instead? Would that be better?
Well, let's hear it. What is it?
I think I should just show you. I'm not gonna do it.
Oh,
but
you can't spoil it.
No, I don't want to spoil it.
You need to do it, dude.
I'm gonna. All right. Do you think definitely make a TikTok? Really? I read an article about a woman who makes $2 million a year on TikTok.
Well, there's a key word you use there.
What?
Woman.
Oh, is it like OnlyFans stuff? Are people naked on TikTok?
Not naked, but I'm just saying if you're
no one
really
makes money from TikTok.
And jiggly.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah, TikTok itself does not pay.
Well, you'll have to have like sponsors or whatever. Like TikTok ads don't pay you much.
It was funny. One of the things I like doing every so often is looking through. There's a site called Indeed, which is all job postings, and it's just like, what if I was a
I do that sometimes.
Marine biologist, and I look up like marine biology jobs and like just to see what or tech jobs or whatever. And I almost applied for one. I almost applied for a job as the head of the Toronto Film School, running the film program. Because I thought, you know what? These schools they're dinosaurs, man. It's all got to change. We gotta change the system. And I wondered about. I thought Jane should do it, and then she didn't think it was right for her. So I thought, well, then I'll do it because I've got none of the skills she's got. But
I was almost an Army cryptographer, dude.
Seriously?
It's just the whole wheelchair thing got in their way. Because the guy called me.
Really?
It was a recruiter. Yeah, the recruiter, because we do these things called ASVAB tests, like to test your proficiency.
Right.
And I crush it.
But why does it matter if you're in a wheelchair or not?
I don't know. Because he calls me and he's like, dude, and he's really talking to me like, Holmes, do you want to go see the world? Heck yeah. And all this stuff. And he's like, you'll be around the world cracking codes, making codes. You're going to be like a superstar.
Killing people.
Like, cool. Does it matter that I'm in a wheelchair? Oh. Okay, bye.
Seriously?
That was it. All done. My cracking career went.
So what?
Down the toilet.
Were you just going to be fodder? Like, what do they want? Like, what are
well,
they?
I'm thinking you have to. There's probably like neck snapping tests and things, you know. Because if you're a secret spy, you got to snap necks. I mean, that all the time.
Yeah. But you could be like a secret spy, like, you know, can't you be the guy in the earpiece? Go left, go left. I mean, my other left.
Nobody. I could put all the secret documents on my tray, and nobody would look at them. I'm telling you, we could just put them all right here. It could say top secret. Putin's scrotum was here, and
oh God, that's an image I did not need. That's a way to end. It must be hard to get people to sign up for the military for that when you can get so much more in other organizations. Yeah, it's true, Elizabeth. That's true.
The one thing I've heard the military does well is like helping teach you, though.
Oh, education. They'll teach you, but you're gonna pay for it.
So like military, like I've seen a lot of people that like just they join the military, they do something they get good at, they learn their stuff, and then they move elsewhere.
Well, and you're getting the you're getting the like if you get into their technical stuff, you're playing with the best tech out there. The problem is that you don't know that you're going to be in there, and also they can decide what they want to do with you as well, right? So
even as a soldier, you can come out and make way over 100,000 just as a. They don't call it mercenary now, but whatever those Blackwater guys are.
So, you know, LordChunky's going to be a freaking billionaire anyways. Like, it's like he's going to be like, I don't think he's going to need the military stuff for that. You know what I mean?
He's not going to do it the way you think, though. He's going to marry one of those
supermodels,
poolside moms.
The poolside.
Oh yeah.
That's it. Your summer employment is gonna set you up for life.
Maybe we'll just find like Jeff Bezos' ex-wife or something.
Like a sugar mommy. Is there such thing as a sugar mommy? Is that wasn't that the term? No, that's the other thing I wanted to ask you about, LordChunky. So a former employee of mine. So Katie used to work. This woman named Katie used to work for me when I did websites with Darkle. We did film and TV websites, and she's amazing. Loved Katie, and she's now at a company called GeekBench. And we Discorded about this, but I'd love to know if there's anything we can. Is there some connection there that we can be working on? I mean, it sounds kind of cool. It's like it's this technology to basically to see how good how well your system is running. Do you put any stock in that stuff? I mean, is it valid?
Like the main thing I just use it for is like, just I don't know, like you overclock your computer, you can test it with that,
right?
And there's this website called, I think I told you about before, HardwareBot.
Oh yeah.
So you can like submit the things, you can get the points for it,
and you're ranked.
So you'll basically like it has pretty much like every major benchmark under the sun.
Right.
So you'll run just as many of them as possible. So like.
But they have the benchmarks on their site?
For Geek, no, you can submit them on the site.
I see. Okay.
But like you get the benchmark, and then you have to like run it, and then have like some kind of validation.
And so like something like Geekbench would have like some kind of like you could output a list of all of the however fast it was able to do whatever it was able to do.
Well, yeah, you'll run the benchmark, then it'll give you a score at the end, and then it'll upload it to like a website, so there's like a compare link. I'm pretty sure.
That'd be kind of cool.
It's a competition. Yeah.
But if you were buying a laptop or something, let's say, and you wanted to find out if it was good at what you were going to use it for, that would actually be great. Like if you go let's say you're only using it for for Excel spreadsheets or something. If you find the fastest the laptop that's best at Excel spreadsheets may not be the one that's best for gaming or whatever, right? I mean, it could be useful to have that. Like know exactly what you're going to use. If you know what you're going to use your computer for, it'd be kind of cool to have benchmark stuff for that. I like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff for that.
Go ahead. Are you using Port Royal or that?
Yeah, I've used
What
Port
is it?
Royale. I've used like 3D Mark in general.
What's Port
How
Royale?
about the paid version? It's
The
a
paid version? Oh,
benchmark.
I have the paid version already. Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. It tests your like graphics card speed or altogether how, like how it can process 3D, and I think it's doing ray tracing now too.
Yeah,
Oh,
Port
well, that
Royale
makes
is the ray
sense.
traced one.
That makes sense. So it's seeing
Okay.
how
And
fast your
There's the other
system can
ones,
output
there's like
that.
all kinds of different benchmarks. Because 3D Mark's been going on for ages, going back to like early 2000s at least.
Everyone's
So
2000s
that's
is
one
a
that
long
does
time ago.
the CPU also, or no? Which one does the CPU?
So the main one people use for CPU is Cinebench.
Yes.
Cinebench, right.
Man, I
I've
test
heard of
this
that.
kid. He knows everything.
No,
He
I'm
knows
telling you,
everything.
this is it. I mean, like that. Like someone's like I'm surprised you're working at a pool. I'm surprised you're not like doing data analysis for the Toronto pool system or whatever it is. What sort of stuff are you looking at?
He snatched a grade of rice from your hand, David.
It's true that the teacher has become the student. I was never a teacher, of course, so that I bypassed that entirely.
You're a teacher.
I was a pointer.
Yeah.
I pointed at stuff. But yeah, it's I one of my favorite stories is
LordChunky?
is LordChunky showing up at my house and saying, your son says he's building a computer. It's not true, right? I'm like, what? And then coming down and playing playing like, don't touch that, kids, and getting it working. So yeah. I think at the same time we took a video of the two of them were each standing on one of the feet of my elliptical machine.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah.
They were so young that they fit on the feet, and they were going up and down. And I just had this horrible image that LordChunky was gonna put an elbow out and get it like
I did break
crushed.
one of the feet of the elliptical.
It did break the feet of the elliptical? Is that why it's not working?
Yeah, like a little. No, like one of the pieces fell off.
No, it's so old. It was already doing that. Yeah, it was already crumbling under my own. Believe me, if it can handle my weight, it could handle you guys for sure. It was like an elephant, elephant on that thing, like a big bag of watery elephant. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye because I gotta run, go talk to the kid. Now that I've killed Lance with humor.
Everybody always remember, water cool your swim trunk.
Water cool your swim trunk. Because they'd be sitting on whatever. He's on the tower with the whistle. He's on the tower with the whistle, and it's so hot. It's so hot. If only I had a water
cooled swim trunk.
Water cooled system. You could 3D print a top made out of. Oh, there you go. You could use the chainmail.
Do a little chainmail top.
A chainmail top with some cooling,
like tubing through it.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
it's
cool.
Perfect.
That was so cool with you. He's like, isn't that what water does, David?
Yeah, I know. It was like
swimming in the pool.
It was like the most. It was the kindest, most and most respectful. You are an idiot. That you could possibly do.
Senile man.
Well, David,
would you like me to turn the temperature up?
You could just go in the pool. Yes. Thanks, LordChunky, for coming by and giving Lance the fodder he needs to mock me mercilessly for the rest of his life.
He would have done it either way.
It's true. It's true. But he's just not that good at it on his own. I think you've helped him out immensely in this. I think
he is my muse. Really.
That's it. You're my insulting muse. Fantastic. All right, get out of here. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. Be safe, be kind, be brilliant. Until we geek again, I will say cheerio and huzzah. And I may see you again on Thursday.
Bye.
We'll see. Thanks, LordChunky. Thank you, Lance. GimpyG. And we'll say goodbye. Bye.